Welcome to Mrs. Fletcher's 7th grade life science class. This is Team 72, so if you are not supposed to be on Team 72 right now, raise your hand and I will write a pass and send you to the correct class. All right, so there's going to be 3 important websites that you're going to be using this year. And in those websites, you will find information that you're going to need to get through my class. The first one is going to be www.googleclassroom.com. If you have been at Lowndes for any time, Lowndes Middle School specifically, you already know about Google Classroom. This is where I'm going to put assignments that you may need to gain connection to various videos and YouTubes and teacher tubes and things like this. It just makes it a little easier for you. Writing assignments may be put here, anything other than a blog. You will also turn electronic assignments in using Google Classroom. If you'll share it with me there, at the end of this presentation, I have my email address, and you will simply plug in under share my email address and it'll send it through and put it into Google Docs. Okay, the code for getting into my particular classroom is lowercase stm334. The second website that you will find helpful will be www.sophia.org. When you get there, you're going to see a little magnifying glass at the top next to a text block. If you will type in that text block, Lisa Fletcher, the way you see it here, you're going to see some choices pop up underneath there. You're going to select the one that says Lisa space Fletcher in entire site. Okay, that's going to take you inside of my section of this website. And you will find tutorials and playlists. Okay, the tutorials are where I started learning how to use Sophia the first time, and I didn't know how to group things together. And so these are individual little snippets or segments that contain PowerPoints or videos or that type of thing. Some of them have voiceovers on them, some of them do not. And you're welcome to look through and at your leisure. Use them to look ahead and learn what's coming, or use them as a review. Use these to help you to gain the knowledge for things that you might have missed while you were absent. Okay, they're all good places to go. Go to the playlists, and in the playlist section of this, it's kind of organized, like a file cabinet would be organized, where you would have tutorials being an individual sheet of paper inside the file cabinet, and the playlists are all these individual papers that have been placed inside of the same folder. It's kind of that same concept. So they're put together inside of a playlist for a unit. Okay, so please make sure that you take time to go through these, and I will be adding new material to it as I get new material finished and uploaded for you. Okay, excuse me. The last site that I'm introducing you to, kind of even as we speak right now, I will have pasted above the whiteboard on a strip of paper so that you always know what the website is, and that is www.lovelearninglifescience.weebly.com. And this was a site that I began developing at the end of the 2015-2016 school year as I was working through one of my master's classes. And I decided that this would be a great way for me to improve the amount of information that's available to you and your parents or your guardian or your grandparents or whomever it is that helps you as far as school is concerned. The other teachers will also know that it's here, so that way they can point you in the right direction, as well as our administrators. Okay, this site will probably change slightly in terms of how it's named as a domain name, because I think that what I want to do is I want to leave the free site, which includes the .weebly section, and actually go to a site that costs me a little bit, but it'll give me the ability to give you individual passwords to log on to my site, rather than my site just being available for everyone on the internet. Okay, so I will give you a strong introduction to this last website, but that's for another day. Okay, so be patient. Our classroom rules. I need you to follow all the school rules and our county rules, which are listed in your handbook. Okay, you are going to be accountable to those rules. So it's important enough that we hand out your handbooks and we teach you during homeroom what it says in here. You take them home, you go over them with your parents, and your parents sign off saying, you know, yes, I've read this with my child. Both you and your parent are going to sign off on the sheet, turn it in, and that's kind of our contract. Okay, so that way nothing gets caught off guard. If I'm not mistaken, Ms. Grantham also puts those rules up on the LMS website to make it easily accessible for you and your parent. Okay, my personal rules and procedures as far as my class is concerned, I need you to raise your hand and wait to be recognized before speaking. And please do not talk while other people are talking and someone else has been given that permission to go ahead and talk. I'm not very good at hearing several people talking to me at the same time, nor am I very good at trying to decipher what's actually going on and be able to respond in a correct and intelligent manner when I have all of these different people talking at the same time. This is a rule that, or a procedure, if you will, that I will loosen up on as the school year passes and you learn how to better communicate with each other. Next, please get permission before you get out of your seat during class, unless you are working on an activity or a lab in which I've told you, yes, you're going to need to move around and do this and do that or do something else. When we get into working in small groups, you will have assigned jobs that will change, and you will have that opportunity to be able to move around. Okay. However, if you are working on an activity or a lab, I need you to stay with your group. Okay. Do not go and interfere with another group. Do not go ask Sally what she said to Joe when he was in the hallway, or what they did last night. Your job is not there for that type of social activity. Your job or your focus should be on doing what it takes for your group to be successful in the task that they're trying to accomplish for that day. Okay? Do not sit on my desk or lean back on my chair. One, nobody wants to be writing or dealing on their desk when they've had somebody's backside on that desk in that place. That's just not nice. Okay, leaning back on the chairs. I know that some of you have told me, this is a habit, Miss Fletcher. I'm sorry, it's just a habit, Miss Fletcher. Well, it's a habit you need to break right away because these chairs are old, but they're what we have. You lean back on the chairs snap or crack or break, and then you either end up without a chair altogether, or you end up with a chair that pinches you every time you lean a certain way on it or sit a certain way on it. Nobody likes that. It's not comfortable. So please be respectful and don't lean back on the chairs. Okay? Cell phones. It's a school policy that all cell phones must be turned off or in your locker unless your teacher specifically requests for you to have them in his or her class. This does not mean on the hall. It does not mean in the lunchroom, okay? When you are in my class, if I have you working on your cell phones, you must be doing what I'm asking you to do with them. You must be on the sites that I ask you to be on and no place else. Okay, violation of cell phones ends the privilege. Okay, and if you violate the cell phone policy for the school while you're in the hallway or in the lunchroom, or for that matter, if I catch you texting when you're not supposed to be texting, in my classroom, it is an immediate write-up. That's not my policy. That's the school's policy in general, and I stand behind it. Okay. The dress code for this class will be enforced. So don't test me on it, because I'll send you to the front office and they will either have you call your parent so that your parent can bring you a change of clothes, or Miss Jones will look in our clothes closet and see if we have something that might fit you so that you can be within dress code. That's very important. Okay, it's a matter of respect and it's a matter of safety. Okay, and what I say for boys, I also say for girls. All right, our standards, concepts, and learning targets. As you will see on my website, you will have 6 units of study, and the Georgia Performance Standards with the strands, the concepts that are going to be learned, and the learning targets that are your goals for each one of these will be covered at the beginning of each unit. And they will be uploaded to my website so that you'll be able to see them at any time that you need to. And I'll also reintroduce them on a daily basis as we work through this course of study. Those units are the classifications, cells, body systems, heredity and genetics, ecology, which is also called the interdependency of life, and evolution. The mindset that goes along with the characteristics of science have been taught every year that you've had science since you've been in school. I will reteach them as we go through each one of these units and use them throughout the course of the year. Those are things like lab safety and how to use different types of equipment, what different types of scientific tools are called, what the scientific method is, and so on and so forth. Okay. Our consequences. I don't like to spend a lot of time on consequences, but my school policy and the school board all say that I have to go through this process with you, and so therefore I will go through this process with you. There might be minor alterations to the negative portion of this, depending on what our new assistant principal brings into the fold for us, so just be prepared for that. Okay, the positive side of things. I would much rather call home and talk to your parents or send a note home to tell your parent how awesome you are doing in my class. Okay, and the parents would much rather hear that. So if you're looking for whatever your reward system is at the house, then put forth the effort in the classroom, and I'll make sure your parents know about it. Okay, candy is something that I love to bring into the classroom, not for me, but for you, because you like it, and for whatever reason, it helps keep you motivated to learn. And so, hey, if that's what it takes, that's what I'll do. Okay, I love to use these during Jeopardy games, during mind readers, during 3 facts and a fib. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can earn you candy. Okay, so just pay attention, put forth the effort, and the candy is yours. Okay, independent research is something that I really want to see you do this year. And so in my Love Learning Life Science, I have a whole section in there on how you can do, sorry for the interruption there. As I was saying, there's independent research sites under the inquiry page in my new website. And you can gain knowledge that interests you, and you can gain points that will improve your grade. So either way, it's a win-win type situation. So please utilize that. Okay. The incentive day. It's difficult for me to schedule incentive days since Monday through Thursday. For the majority of the year, we will be doing learning lunch in all subjects that are necessary depending upon your needs. However, I will set aside Fridays, let's say once, not more than twice a month, in which during lunch you can come in and we'll have movie and a treat of some sort in addition to lunch for those of you that are meeting your goals. Okay? And then, of course, you'll be able to listen to music on certain occasions, depending on what it is that you're working on. Okay, all of those are positive consequences for you simply doing what you should already do. Okay, the negative side of it, I don't believe we're going to need these, but I'm going to go over them anyway, and we'll get in more detail as we get further into class. The first step is just a warning. Okay, for the first few days, I will just give you verbal warnings to remind you, wait a second, we don't do that in this class. This is a science lab. This is what we do in the science lab, etc. Okay, but once you get those down, then we're going to move into the school system of consequences. And that is the first time beyond the warning is a warning with the teacher and student conferences. Okay, that's a written warning that goes into the system. Okay, the next step is silent lunch. Okay, the next step after that is going to be a phone call to the house and also a written write-up that'll move you up the ladder in another step. After which time, the fourth time, which it's really going to surprise me if I need to have anybody with a written warning for 4 times. Okay, but the 4th time, you will get an office referral that usually ends up in ISS, in school suspension. And although you'll still be doing work that's been assigned in class, it won't be near as fun because usually it's going to pertain to book work or something that's written and done entirely by yourself instead of working with your small groups. So don't go there. That's not any fun at all. Okay. The office referral that occurs on the 5th write-up will lead you into OSS. That's out of school suspension. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help me. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help your parents. So let's not. Okay. My procedures for entering and leaving my classroom, let's start with the entering part first. The very first thing I want you to do is I want you to go directly to your seat and lay your things down that you have in your hand. Okay. Then get the materials that you're going to need to be ready for class. That means get your interactive notebook and not someone else's, not even if you're trying to be nice. Don't touch another person's interactive notebook unless that individual tells you, or I should say asks you, please would you get my interactive notebook for me? Okay. Sharpen your pencil if you need to. Now's the time. Sit down and we're going to begin working on, you are going to begin working on your bell ringer. Now, remember that Miss Fletcher is old and decrepit, and so I interchange terms all the time. So bell ringers and warm-ups are the same thing. Okay? So basically what it is it's going to be a question or an activity that you're going to do with your partner or by yourself, and it's going to end in posting a blog on my website under the blog page, which I will show you that again soon. Okay. During this time, entering the class, sitting down, getting your stuff, waiting to begin, the time you're supposed to be working on your bell ringers. There is not open socialization going on. This is not a time to find out who had what for dinner last night, who's going where next Saturday, etc., etc. Okay? This is a time to get yourself prepared and get ready to learn. In the hallway, always walk to the right in a single line, not 2 by 2. We're not on Noah's Ark. Okay? Unless your instructor tells you specifically to do otherwise. Okay, when traveling in the hall, during and after class, either way, on our way to lunch, on our way to the courtyard, on our way to the library, I want you to be respectful to others and do not socialize or talk. There are going to be other classes that are still in session. For example, 7th graders do not go to lunch the same time that 6th graders go. 6th graders are right down the hallway. If you're talking, one voice leads into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of a sudden, it's very loud, and very disruptive to those students that are still trying to gain instruction from their classes and from their teachers. So be respectful and do not disrupt those classes. The walking on the right is simple. You got other people that are moving in the opposite direction. We don't drive 2, 3, 4 cars across a single lane, so why are we going to walk that way? Okay, be respectful, stay on the side. There'll be time to visit with your friends during lunch as you're sitting at the tables. Daily warm-ups. Remember, I told you that I interchange warm-ups and bell ringers all the time. Okay, on the smartboard and in my blog section of my website, you will have a daily warm-up, a question, or a group discussion you will need to answer on my blog page. Even if you're working with a partner or a group to discuss whatever my focus question is, each one of you will still be required to answer in my blog page. Okay, you are to begin your blog with your full name, first and last, your class period, and today's date. Okay, answer it completely. Use complete sentences. Respond completely. If you are absent, you are still required to go to my webpage and respond to each blog. Okay, my webpage URL is listed above my whiteboard, and then again on this PowerPoint right at the bottom here. Class supplies that are necessary. You will need notebook paper, just standard regular notebook paper. I really don't care if it's college ruled or wide ruled, it doesn't matter to me. Pencils or blue or black pens. I don't want you using red unless I give you red ink and say we're going to use these today. If you write with any of the other colors, even though I know they're pretty, I'm going to deduct points. Okay, 10 points, exactly. The reason for that, I'm not trying to be mean, and I love color. The problem is that when I'm responding to your work and it's in written form, I have to use something other than blue or black. I prefer not to use red, so I'll use colors. If you're writing in color, I'm writing in color, how are we going to know whose writing is whose? Okay, that doesn't work for me. So make sure that you use blue or black if you're writing in pen. Okay, you will need a notebook. That will be a 3-ring binder, and it can be 1.5 inches or 2 inches. It doesn't need to be any bigger than that unless you're going to put multiple subjects in here. You will, however, need 8 divider tabs so that you will have room for all of the various elements that I'm going to be having you include in your interactive notebooks. I do have some colored crayons and markers and pencils here, but if you want your own, go ahead and get those. Okay. Note, it would be very helpful if you brought boxes of Kleenexes or number 2 pencils or cap erasers to replenish the class supply. Also, I do not stock pencil lead of any kind. So if you need that, you need to make sure that you either have it when you get to school or you can go and get it from the school store during homeroom. Other supplies may be requested throughout the year, like poster board and things like that. There we go. Our grading procedures. We have formative grades that count 1 time typically, and they're worth 40% of your grade. Those are going to include daily work that might be long-term. For example, my blogs. You know, when you complete 20 blogs, then you will get a formative grade. Okay, classwork, homework, quizzes, those are all formative grades. In accordance with our school standards, you will have to have a minimum of 9 formative grades. Typically, I have more than that I include in here. We'll go into the grade book. Grading procedures continued. Summatives. Your summative grades count 1 time usually. Occasionally, I might count something that's really big twice, but not usually. Okay, they are 60% of your overall grade, and they apply to things like tests and projects and 9-week grade assessments. You will have at least 4 of these per 9 weeks, usually more in my class, as you will have at least 1 written test and at least 1 project-based assignment for each concept set or unit. Here we go. Going over the syllabus and the rules and procedure charts with your parents. Okay, the syllabus will be signed by students and parents and returned no later than Monday, August the 12th at 2016. It will be read and signed by both you and your parents, and this is kind of a contract between them, you, and myself, so that we're all on the same page. The procedure charts on the wall, they're above my desk in the front of the room. But you'll notice as you go down, one of them says respect on it, and it goes through point by point. And the other part of it is kind of what you've already read in here. Those are up there just as a reminder. Okay, rules about living creatures in my room or outside my room. Living creatures are just that. They are living creatures. I will not put us in a position, nor will you, where we're going to be cruel or harmful to these living creatures. Okay, in the past, I've had things like little oak snakes, different types of turtles, both water turtles and land turtles, which are also called tortoises. And I've had fish, and I've had rabbits, and I've had mice, and hamsters, and guinea pigs. And I will know at the beginning of school, before you actually get to this, what I will have in my classroom for the 2016-17 school year. Anyway it goes. You do not try to feed them things that are not normal for them. You do not put paper or erasers or pencils or anything like that in their cage / aquarium, whatever it might be. Okay, you don't poke at them. You don't, you just basically be nice to them, respect them. If you're scared of them, look at them from a distance. I'm not going to make you touch or feel or anything like that, something that makes you uncomfortable. Okay, so same thing applies when you go outside. Because we do have a trip to Grand Bay that will be scheduled for us to go on. There'll be plants and animals that you'll get to observe and labs that you get to do. And you just need to make sure that you apply those same types of respects to all of those. Don't touch plants if you don't know what they are, because you don't know whether or not you're going to have an allergic reaction to them. Okay, so keep that in mind. Headings of papers. Write your first and last name, your date, the period that you're in, the class period that you're in, the title of the assignment, in the top right-hand corner of your notebook paper, okay? Or graphic organizers, or worksheets, etc. Okay? If you'll do this right off the bat, it'll become a habit in 23 days and you won't have a problem. Failure to follow these types of directions will cause you to lose 5 points off your grade. If I have no name whatsoever on the paper and I can figure out who it belongs to, then you'll get credit, but you're going to lose 10 points off of that. Okay, that's if I can figure it out. If not, you have a missing until such time that you have made up the work and turned it in. This is one more reason why I want to go electronic as much as I physically can, because I don't want to hear, Miss Fletcher, I turned that in, and what it turned out to be was that you didn't put your name on it, somebody else claimed it. Okay? Or that you really didn't turn it in to me, and you just thought you did, etc., etc. Okay? That's your responsibility, not mine. Turning in assignments. Many assignments will be given in Google Classroom, and they will be turned into Google Classroom. Again, my code is STM334. The site is labeled Mrs. Fletcher's Life Science class. Written assignments, there are 2 wooden filing cabinets underneath the green table. Your papers will be turned into the correct drawer for your class period. All writing assignments must be legible and written in complete sentences. As a matter of fact, with me, you're writing in complete sentences unless I tell you that you're doing an outline. Okay? So, again, that's your responsibility. It'll say, for instance, first period in, and then you'll have one that says first period out. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, you're going into the first period in or second period in or whatever your class period is in box. Special instructions will be given to you for project-based assignments, since most of them are going to be too large to go into the wooden filing cabinets. Returning assignments to you. Graded papers will be returned and filed in your folders and will be placed in the other wooden box. 1 or 2 people per class will be assigned to pass those papers out periodically. Okay? Those papers should go in your folder, not on the floor, not in the trash can, not in the bathroom trash can, and they don't become paper basketballs that get shot at my trash cans. Okay? Any missing assignments will have to be redone during learning lunch or academic detention after school. And these folders that you have will be viewed by parents or guardians at any time that they decide to come into my room. You'll have to go over and pull them and show them what you've been marking up. Okay, finishing assignments early. If you should finish the assignment that you've been given early, I don't want you to disrupt other students. This is not an open invitation for you to start having socialized conversation. You may, however, work ahead by looking at the PowerPoints that I have in sophia.org, or by completing an exploration section and summarizing the information that you found in the inquiry page. And again, I've given you the website URL. Okay, those explorations and summative assignments that you do on an exploration level are worth extra credit points that can help you in the end. Okay, always bring an AR book to class. There may be times when you have time to read or earn extra AR points. Okay. Assignments. You will need to have assignments turned in on time. If you are absent from school, you have 3 days to make up the assignments with an excused absence. Failure to bring a note from home can cause you to earn a 0. This is your responsibility, not mine. Okay, I'll make it as easy on you as I can, but it's still your responsibility. Missing assignments or ZAP will be completed during learning lunch or academic detention. Getting materials. I will have a general outline of the lessons posted in my website under the correct unit headings to make keeping up with things easier, if you've been absent and things like this. Okay, do not disturb others while you're moving around the class to gather up these assignments. Again, this is not a time for you to be socializing with your friends about what you did while you were out, okay? Or anything else that's not school or assignment related. If you need something that someone else is using, please ask before taking it. Be considerate of others, please. The materials on my desk. Please do not bother anything on my desk without permission. You'll be provided with some supplies as needed. Any other time, if you need something, politely ask, and you will usually be able to borrow something that you need. Should you need to borrow a pencil from me, write your name on the whiteboard and return it when you are finished, or definitely before you leave my class. Do not break pencils and or throw things around my classroom or any of the other number of things that you guys like to do. Computers. Please get permission before getting on any of the Chromebooks or the desktop computers. Only print if you have permission. You will not be able to print from Chromebooks, and only a select number of my desktop units have the ability to print. So most of the time, if you're going to print, you have to ask me anyway. This includes during learning lunch and during homeroom. Leave the settings on the computers as they are. Be sure to log off before leaving the computers, and Chromebooks are to be stored and plugged in the correct numbered location in the Chromebook cabinet before you leave the room. Okay. If you cannot do that, and I have to assign somebody else to do it for you, you will lose the privilege of being able to use those Chromebooks. To leave the classroom, to go anywhere in the school, to the school store, which happens only during homeroom, to the counselor, to the media center, to the office, to the nurse, you must have your agenda book. No agenda book, no travel. Okay. Also, there will be times posted up on a chart in the room that says what time the nurse is accepting students for various things, whether you have medication you're supposed to take, whether you're feeling poorly, that type of thing. She has assigned times that you can go to do this. Asking me the rest of the time, unless you are about to pass out, is not going to happen. Okay. I try to keep Band-Aids and cough drops stored in my room. However, I'm not big on wasting them, so make sure you need them before you ask. Restrooms, you're to use the restrooms on our hallway unless specifically given instructions otherwise. And I have a special pass that you can pick up to go so that you don't have to use your agenda books to go there. Make sure you bring it back. Pay attention to the restroom schedules that we have. If you are not in class, you can't learn. If I have to get pulled out of the classroom for some reason, maybe I have to go across the hall to let Miss Terrell or Miss Avalez, I'm sorry, it's Mrs. Weatherspoon or Miss Avalez or Miss Redshaw know that they need to send a student or whatever, you're to stay in your seats. Okay? Do not get out of your seats unless I've specifically said, so-and-so, I need you to do this while I'm going to take care of this. Okay, failure to follow these types of rules can get you in serious trouble, because when I come back, if anything is amiss and you were out of your seat and we've caught it on the video or whatever, you're in some serious trouble. Okay, so keep that in mind. Visitors. If we should have visitors, I need you to be kind and show respect. I'll not tolerate misbehavior with our visitors or substitute teachers. Okay? Don't think that you can get away with stuff in these kinds of incidences. You are required, expected to behave politely. Okay, remember the golden rule. Do unto others as they would have them to do unto you. School announcements. You're to stop talking and listen. If the announcement is given, it may actually pertain to you or your partner next to you or someone that's 2 seats over. Be quiet. Be respectful. Okay? Bottom line is to end all conversation when announcements are being made on the intercom or on the television or on the smart board. Okay, remember that we do have LMS news in the morning, and so we're expecting you to be polite and listen, because I don't want to have to answer those questions. And one, I can't answer the questions because you were talking, and second, because you were actually told the answer to this, but you were talking. Emergency drills, the fire drills. We will discuss the exit routes, and this will happen pretty quickly, beginning of the school year. Okay, bad weather, we'll discuss the school procedures for bad weather. You should be quiet throughout the entire drill, no matter which kind it is. And then when you're quiet, the teacher will tell you instructions about when you can get up, when we can go back inside, that type of thing. I'm going to add one too here that I don't have on this, that we had a lot of problems with last year. When it gets to be the winter months, when it's colder, don't wear shorts to school. Make sure you have a jacket, because if we get called out for a fire drill, you may be standing outside for a while. And if you're not appropriately dressed, you're going to be very uncomfortable. Leaving the classroom each day. Please be respectful of others. You do not have a personal maid service at the school, so you must clean up after yourself, make things easier on the people around you and our janitorial staff. Each day at the end of class, you must make sure your seating area is clean. This means free of trash, etc. If you happen to be the last class of the day, you will be putting up your chair and the one beside you if no one sits there. Okay? I will dismiss you by rows. So I don't like people just jumping up, not taking care of what they need to, and then stampeding me at the door. Okay, I don't do it like that. It makes me nervous. Okay, so just wait. I'll get you out in time. LMS. We have some slogans here. This is where student engagement is definitely key. Engagement means you are involved in your assignments. You're working hard, doing the best you can do. My motto, you'll look at the board on the side, and it says you need to study, learn, and then be able to apply the knowledge. Okay, and I'm going to test you on that every day. Okay, on Team 72, success is not an accident. It takes hard work. It takes teamwork. It takes focus. Okay, you're expected to do all. All right, contact information should you need to get in touch with me. Okay, the school number is 229-245-2280. My email, lisafletcher@lounge.k12.ga.us. In class, I will have a question box that you can put questions into if you don't have time or don't want to talk to me personally. You can put your question in there. It can be signed or it can be anonymous. Okay, I'll try to address those every Friday. I have Remind 101, or now what's called Remind.com. Okay, and I have the teacher web page, which will have links that will lead you to these other places that I've already talked to you about. Okay, so go there if you can't remember anything else.